Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Steve. So Kevin Durant came out and he said that Kyrie Irving is better than Allen Iverson, straight up, from like skill by skill, and I completely disagree. Look, I respect Kevin Durant's opinion. KD actually played against Kyrie Irving. Okay, he grew up watching Allen Iverson like all of us did. Well, I don't know if most of you guys did. Maybe you guys are a little younger, but regardless, I can understand his point of view. He has a championship here, but he specifically talked about skill for skill. But when you really look at skill for skill, they're both pure ISO scorers. Both revolutionized the game in terms of dribbling ability, okay? We understand that. So when you look at Kyrie Irving's dribbling ability, I mean, since they're both ISO scorers, let's understand how great of a scores they are. Now, we also have to take into consideration that that Allen Iverson played as the main option on his team for his entire career, pretty much, except for when he played with Melo. Whereas Kyrie Irving didn't. He only did that for the first 3 years. So let's look at the first 3 years in the league. Kyrie Irving, 22 points per game, 23 points per game, and then 21 points per game in his first 3 years in the NBA. Allen Iverson, 24 points per game, 22 points per game, and then 27 points per game for their first 3 years. But something that Allen Iverson does that Kyrie Irving doesn't is just pure consistency. Kyrie Irving is a great player, an incredible player, one of the greatest players on the planet right now. But Allen Iverson is one of the greatest players of all time. Now, Kyrie Irving has a chance to become that, but as of right now, it's not even close to Kyrie and Allen Iverson, okay? Allen Iverson had consistency. He carried his team to the playoffs. He carried his team to the finals. Now, offensively, his team had no help whatsoever. Defensively, they did Dikembe Mutombo, some other solid defensive players like Eric Snow, etc. But really, it was just Allen Iverson on offense, and it was 1-on-5 on offense. That's pretty much what it was. And he carried them to the finals. Now, he didn't win an NBA championship, but at the same time, you have to look at the era when he was in his prime. You have to take into account other things. For example, his prime was when Shaq and Kobe were dominating the league, and Tim Duncan. You have to remember, for a good 7 years, really, if you look at it, I believe it's 8 out of 10 years from 2000 to 2010. Those championships resided in the Western Conference because you had dominant players. You had, 2000 to 2003, obviously you had Kobe and Shaq. 2004, you had the Detroit Pistons. 05, you had, 7 out of 10. 05, you had the San Antonio Spurs. 06, you had the Miami Heat. 07, you had the Spurs. 08, you had the Celtics. 09, you had the Lakers. 10, you had the Lakers. So it was a Western Conference dominated era. And those West teams were stacked as hell. You had Kobe when and the audio sounded weird right there, cut out, so I have to redo this part of the video, but whatever. You had Kobe win 5 championships in 10 years. You have Tim Duncan, who won 2 championships in that era. Was it 2? Yeah, 2 championships in that era. You have, I believe it's 2. I may be wrong about that, but whatever. Let's say 2. 2 championships in that era. That's 7. Okay? Then you had, 2. Because then you had Detroit, you had Miami, and then you had Boston. Okay, so 7 out of 10 years. You had Kobe and Shaq, and then you had Kobe and Powell, okay? And then you had Tim Duncan, Manu, and Tony. I mean, come on. There was literally, he just was in a bad time. Now, he says skill for skill, but I completely disagree with that because if you want to look at skill set, Allen Iverson, they had both. I would say Allen Iverson changed the way people dribble. Kyrie's more complex with it, but Allen Iverson changed it. So I can't really sit there and say who's better. I'll say Kyrie does more incredible stuff with the basketball, but Allen Iverson does, it's hard to say. Allen Iverson does simpler things, but the simpler he does it, it's still as hard to guard in that sense. But you have to understand the game is advanced, okay? But it's not just a sense of, Allen Iverson, his handle wasn't that good. His jump shot was better, okay? Mid-range 3. Okay, I mean, let's look at the statistics. Kyrie Irving shoots 38% from 3. Okay, excuse me, I take that back. Allen Iverson shoots 31%, but Allen Iverson never really shot high percentage from the field. But the fact that the reason why I still think Allen Iverson is better than Kyrie Irving is I saw AI take his team to the playoffs with no one on his team. He's done it by himself. Okay? What year was AI drafted? I believe he was drafted in 96. The best era, one of the best drafts ever. 96 he was drafted. He made the NBA playoffs in 1998. Well, the 1998-99 season. That was his third year in the league. Kyrie Irving did not make the playoffs before LeBron. And he probably won't make it after LeBron. So, either way you look at it, Allen Iverson contributed more to his team's success, or in other words, he carried his team more than Kyrie Irving. Now, it's hard to compare because, again, Kyrie just completed his 6th season in the NBA. He's already been to the finals 3 times. He really only competed in 2 because, obviously, in 2015, he only played 1 game until he got injured. But Kyrie is having a legendary career so far. He has an NBA championship. Allen Iverson has an MVP. Okay, Allen Iverson carried his team to the finals. He may have lost, but he still made it to the NBA finals. So in regards to skill for skill, I can't sit here and say Kyrie Irving's better. Okay, because Allen Iverson, it's just, first of all, Kyrie has so much more to prove. Okay, he's too young to say. That's like me saying when, I don't know, let's use Carmelo Anthony. When Carmelo Anthony was 24 years old, 23 years old, in his 4th year in the NBA. Well, no, Kyrie's 6th year. When Melo was 25 in his 6th year in the NBA, that's like me saying, offensively, Melo's skill set is better than, I don't know, who's another dominant scorer from that era, Tracy McGrady or something. Like, that wouldn't make sense for me to say that at that time. You have to wait until their career really progresses farther in, you know? So it's the same concept with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is going to be an all-time great player. Kyrie is going to be an all-time great player. But the fact is, it's too damn early to sit there and say Kyrie. It's too early to sit there and say Kyrie has a better handle than AI. Kyrie has a better, it's too damn early to say that. So I can't sit here and say, look, Kyrie's better than Allen Iverson, or I can't do that just yet. He has a championship, something that Allen Iverson doesn't have, but at the same time, you can say, oh, well, he played with Melo in, 2007, 2008, Melo's prime years, or the beginning of his prime years, because he peaked around 2013. But, yeah, you can say that, but you also have to understand the competition that they were in, because when he went to Denver with Melo, they were in the Western Conference in an era where Kobe, Tim Duncan, Dirk, and I said all 3 players, yeah, when those 3 players were dominating the West, okay? Those 3 players were literally dominating the West. Those are the only Western Conference teams to win a championship during that era. Okay, and the Mavericks weren't even there, but Dirk Nowitzki being there, it's ridiculous. Okay? But it's not even that's not even the point. The point is that even if Allen Iverson made it out of the Eastern Conference, back then there were super teams in the sense that there were great players that teamed up, but Allen Iverson carried his team all by himself. So let's say he did it 3-4 times in a row to the NBA Finals all by himself. Regardless of how good you are, if you don't have help, you're not going to win. Look at LeBron James in the 2017 NBA Finals. The dude averaged a 30-point per game triple-double. The first player in NBA history to ever average a triple-double in the NBA Finals without turning the ball over a lot like someone else does. I'm not going to say his name. But you see my point, and LeBron lost in 5 games. And AI lost in 5 games against the Lakers. Good players can win at least 1 game against a certain team. But the point is that no matter how many times AI would have made the finals, he simply would not have won. Because these other teams were just too well built. They were too well built. Okay, and it also has to do with the type of player Allen Iverson was and Kyrie Irving. Now, this is also important. You have to understand that when you're a guard, like an Allen Iverson or a Kyrie Irving, it's a little bit different. And again, the audio cut out again because I keep unplugging it by accident. But when you're a guard like those players, it's different because it's different because Dwyane Wade is 6'4", but he played much bigger than he actually was because of his athleticism, his IQ, his defensive ability, and his offensive ability. Whereas Allen Iverson and Kyrie, Allen Iverson was a pretty solid defender, but he was no Gary Payton, in other words. He wasn't an all-time great defender. So they relied on offense. But I made a video on why the small forward position is the most dominant position in the NBA. You guys should go check that out. I made it a while ago, probably over a year ago. But the point is that regardless on if you have the biggest heart, if you're 6 foot and you're a point guard, there is nothing. There's going to be nothing you can do to compete with a 7 foot big man in Shaq, or a 7 foot big man in Tim Duncan, or a 7 foot 3-point shooter in Dirk Nowitzki. There's nothing you're going to be able to do. So in terms of skill, Allen Iverson is still better in my honest opinion. Kyrie Irving has a championship. Allen Iverson doesn't. But you also have to understand what Allen Iverson had to go through, and you also have to understand without LeBron, Kyrie wouldn't have one either. Anyway, who's better? We'd have to wait until Kyrie Irving retires, but at the end of the day, both great players. AI is an all-time great, and so will Kyrie Irving. Anyway, guys, it's me, Man Steve. I'm out. Peace.